एवरीवन। मैं कुछ दिन पहले एक फ्रेंड के घर गया हुआ था एंड ही हैड सच अ बिग एंड ब्यूटीफुल एक्वेरियम इन हिज लिविंग रूम वेयर लॉट्स ऑफ फिश वर देयर। सो आई आस्क्ड हिम कि कितना खाना तुम देते हो इनको दिन भर में, एंड ही सेड दैट ही गिव्स देम ग्रैन्युअल्स which he bought from market 4 times in a day. And then I asked him कि पानी कितना पीती होंगी ये मछली। तो घबरा गया और उसने कहा कि राजीव, what kind of question are you asking? Do you think it is possible for us to know कि ये मछलियाँ पानी कितना पीती हैं जब ये पानी में ही है, एक्वेरियम में ही है? Friends, this was exactly the analogy which Kautilya had made while referring to corruption in India in his book Arthashastra. I will take you to a historical journey of corruption with reference to India, and so we'll start with Kautilya's Arthashastra. It was the period when India was all about 16 Mahajanpads, and Magad was the strongest among all the Mahajanpads, and Magad was being ruled by Dhananand. और कौटिल्य क्लेम करते हैं कि उस समय मगध में बहुत रैम्पेंट करप्शन था धनानंद के राज्य में, एंड दिस वाज प्रिसाइजली वन ऑफ द रीजंस व्हाई मगध वाज लूजिंग ऑल इट्स पावर एज अ स्टेट. और मगध को अलाइव रखना एज अ प्रोमिनेंट स्टेट, एज अ स्ट्रॉन्गर स्टेट वाज वेरी नेसेसरी बिकॉज एट दैट टाइम अलेक्जेंडर वाज नॉकिंग एट द वेस्टर्न फ्रंटियर्स ऑफ इंडिया. So this was one of the motivation what made Kautilya examine corruption in greater details in Magad. और फिर कौटिल्य चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य को गद्दी पे लाते हैं और खुद प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनते हैं. एंड देन ही ऑल्सो सजेस्ट वेज टू डील विद दिस करप्ट प्रैक्टिसेस. ही हैज आइडेंटिफाइड 40 टाइप्स ऑफ embezzlement. And he suggests basically 2 types of reforms. पहला structural reform होता है. In structural reforms he had identified 3 more offices. The first one is the office of audit and accounts. And secondly he talks about तो बोलते हैं गुप्तचर विभाग, वो भी बहुत जरूरी है राजा को बताने के लिए. And third he proclaims that there should be council of ministers to aid and advise the king on different issues. So these 3 are structural change which he recommends and which he also implements in the case of Chandragupta Maurya's rule of Magad. And second one is the behavioral change, which is quite interesting and quite relevant in today's context, because he suggests that if there is any complaint against officers with regards to bribery, cheating or corruption, तो हर एक ऑफिसर को अलग अलग इन्वेस्टिगेट करना पड़ेगा. और दे नीड टू बी टोल्ड कि अगर आप पता लग जाता है कि आप गलत बोल रहे हो, झूठ बोल रहे हो, बिकॉज वी आर इंटीग्रेटिंग ऑल द ऑफिसर्स हु आर इन्वॉल्व इन दिस, और पता चल जाता है कि आप झूठ बोल रहे हो, तो आपको स्ट्रिक्टेस्ट पनिशमेंट मिलेगा. इवन इफ योर रोल इज मिनिमल, जो सबसे हाईएस्ट लेवल का पनिशमेंट है वो आपको मिलेगा. तो दिस इज समवॉट सिमिलर टू व्हाट प्रिजनर्स डिलेमा जो गेम थियरिस्ट एडवोकेट करते हैं कि 2 प्रिजनर्स को अलग अलग ले जाते हैं एंड दे आर इंटीग्रेटेड डिफरेंटली, एंड इन द एंड दोनों सच बोल देते हैं एंड देन दोनों को पनिशमेंट हो जाती है. लेकिन क्वेश्चन ये आता है कि क्या इन सारी चीज़ों से करप्शन कम हो गया? डिड इट कर्ब करप्शन? इफ वी हैव टू गो थ्रू द बुक written by Megasthenes, who was the Greek ambassador to India during the rule of Chandragupta Maurya, and he had written a book called Indica. तो उसमें वो क्लेम करता है कि इंडिया वॉज इनहेबिटेड बाई वेरी ऑनेस्ट पीपल, एंड इवन चाइनीज स्कॉलर्स लाइक फायान हुआन सेन वो भी यही कहते हैं कि इंडिया इज़ अ लैंड वेयर पीपल आर वेरी हाई ऑन स्पिरिचुअल कोशेंट और करप्शन का लेवल बहुत कम है. तो क्या हम इससे मान लें कि करप्शन का लेवल कम हो गया था या करप्शन ख़त्म हो गया था? और कौटिल्य वॉज अ की फिगर इन कर्बिंग करप्शन. लेकिन जब हम मेडिवल इंडिया पे जाते हैं और अफगान रूलर्स की बात करते हैं, टू स्टार्ट विथ अलाउद्दीन खिलजी जो 1296 का उसका जो टाइम पीरियड है, समवेयर अराउंड 1296 का है, तो उसमें हिस्टोरियन क्लेम करते हैं कि वहाँ पे करप्शन बहुत रैम्पेंट था. ही यूज्ड टू ब्राइब हिज ओन ऑफिसर्स whom he suspected of revolting against him. So that was one of his ways in order to compose and calm down the revolt, the emerging revolt. And some historians claim that he was very strict with regards to corruption. He has envisaged a system where he could give the harshest of punishment if some official is caught on corruption. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम यह है कि दो वर्ड्स जो है नजराना है, शुक्रनामा है, दे गॉट क्रिस्टलाइज्ड अलाउद्दीन खिलजी के समय में. और ये नजराना क्या है? नजराना जैसा कि शाब्दिक रूप है कि आप किसी से मिलते हैं, किसी के नज़र में आते हैं तो आप उसको गिफ्ट देते हैं. तो हिस्टोरियन क्लेम करते हैं कि अलाउद्दीन खिलजी वॉज वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट when it came to corruption. But in order to reach to Alauddin Khilji, there were many officials in hierarchy. और हर एक ऑफिशियल को गिफ्ट देते देते तब आप पहुंचते थे. सो नजराना वॉज वेरी मच पार्ट एंड पार्सल. एंड इफ योर वर्क वॉज डन, तो जब आप वापस आते थे अपना काम करने के बाद, कार्य संपादित होने के बाद, तो भी आप शुक्रिया अदा करते थे बाय द वे ऑफ गिविंग गिफ्ट्स. So Nazrana and Sukrana was started getting crystallized during the. आगे बढ़ते हैं फिरोज शाह तुगलक के समय का. तो his time frame is somewhere around 1351, and there is a wonderful book. The title of the book is History of Medieval India from 1000 AD to 1707 AD, and it's written by Radhe Shyam Sharma. And he claims, and he has cited an incident which tells about existing corruption and the mindset of Firoz Shah Tughlaq with regards to corruption. And the story is that there is one soldier who comes to this emperor Firoz Shah Tughlaq and tells him that whenever the horse inspector comes to inspect, he always asks for one tanka as a bribe, and he's supposed to come tomorrow. So what did the emperor do? The emperor gave this soldier 2 tankas and told him categorically that please give 1 tanka tomorrow to that inspector and keep 1 for the later period, for the later inspection, which will also take place when he comes for the second time. So this was how the emperor Firoz Shah Tughlaq dealt with corruption. So we find that even in medieval India, corruption was very rampant and there was not a serious effort made. Some historians claim that the entire purpose of Afghan rulers was to plunder India's wealth, and this was precisely one of the reasons why they were not very serious in dealing with these cases. So now let's move down to Jahangir. When we talk about Jahangir, the one word which comes immediately to our mind is Thomas Roe. Thomas Roe was British ambassador to Jahangir's court, and he wanted to have trade permission for British companies from the Emperor Jahangir. And initially he was not successful in getting that trade concession and the permission to conduct trade. And the reason why he was not successful, some of the historians claim that the Nazarana which he offered to Jahangir, Nazarana, if you can recall, I have just mentioned about Nazarana a few minutes back in this talk. The Nazarana which he offered to Jahangir was not good enough in order to please the emperor. So Nazarana was such an important thing. But later somehow he managed it, and British companies got the permission to trade with India. And there is another book written by Morland where he talked about a Dutch businessman by the name of Francisco Pelskert, who has mentioned that how he had to bribe majority of the nobles in Jahangir's court in order to carry his business smoothly. So we see that even in Jahangir's period, corruption was rampant. And then we have the arrival of Britishers. And we start with Warren Hastings' time. He was the first Governor General of Bengal. And he was the employee of British East India Company. But when he went back to England, he took back with himself a lot of wealth. And he was tried for corruption in England. And he later stated that the British East India Company had ample opportunity for amassing wealth and corruption. And he was succeeded by Lord Cornwallis, who instituted 2 reforms. The first one was the establishment of Indian Civil Services, ICS. And second, he increased the salary by many folds of officers working for British East India Company, because he was of the opinion that if the officers who was working for the company will get handsome salary, then they will not have any motivation to indulge into corrupt activities. But did it happen? So let's immediately move to the time when Second World War was taking place. So recently in 2011 there was a wonderful piece written by B.M. Lal in the Hindu newspaper, and the title of that piece was How British Rulers Legalized Bribery. So he has talked about an hospital, Halet Hospital in Kanpur, which was getting constructed at that time, and one of his relative was working as an engineer, and he explains how every engineer was offered money as a very in a very systematic fashion, and because of Second World War there was scarcity of goods, and because of this scarcity the corruption increased many folds. And in order to deal with this corruption, the government at that time instituted the Delhi Special Police Act 1946 and Prevention of Corruption Act 1947. But did these legislation put an end to corruption? Were they successful enough? We'll talk about corruption and scams in post-independence India in my next talk, and then we'll try to see how did we manage our own country when we got hold of our country in 1947. I hope you are enjoying my video, so keep watching my video. Thank you.